Hey, Brian, Dustin, Nico, and Mike. How's it going? Katie Isabel here, reporting live from my room in Canada. Anyway, I wish you the absolute best with everything you're doing and your podcast. And remember, this is very important. Don't go out there. Bye.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, get into the film review. I'm really excited for this one. Shout out to Anita Russell, legendary blood donor. We really appreciate your donation. We're going to be taking on 2010's Devil. I remember seeing this movie back in 2010 when this movie released, and I thought it was really good back then. And upon my most recent rewatch to do my notes for this film, it felt like a first-time watch. I kind of remembered some things, but I didn't remember the important parts, and I appreciated that. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I had a great time with it. I didn't give it a perfect score, but I gave it a pretty high rating. Brian, what'd you think?
So this was a very interesting one for me. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie, or I don't know if I've seen a movie in a long time anyway, where I was so conflicted on it. Like, first of all, I'd never seen this. And for some weird reason in my head, I thought it was an M. Night movie and more than just the story outline. I thought he directed it and wrote the screenplay too.
He's a producer.
Right. And he actually wrote the outline, I think, for the story, and gets credit for it, but he didn't write the script and direct it. And I thought he had the whole trifecta there, but you could tell he didn't. And I don't know what I expected, but I definitely didn't get what I thought. I'm just conflicted in the fact that it had an awful soundtrack, in my opinion. The music took me out of it a lot, but some absolutely stand out, fantastic filmography as well. Cinematography, great fucking runtime, but it wasn't creepy in the way that I expected from a movie about Satan. And most of the acting I thought was not great, save a few people, but those few people were amazing. So it's weird. It's like extremes of all these things that make this movie. I definitely didn't like the first 30 minutes of it at all the first time I saw it, but the second half kind of sucked me back into it. The message of forgiveness hits hard, and it's enough to intrigue me, but it feels almost like a low budget episode of The Twilight Zone. So I don't know. I think I like it overall, but there are a lot of parts that I do think I hate.
So I'd never seen this movie before either, so that was kind of fun. I do enjoy when something gets picked that I haven't seen, which you guys all know how the notes go when I do that. It's just first time I'm taking notes. Whatever I say is whatever I say. I will say there's a few times throughout this movie where I'm really invested and then I'm not. And then I'm really invested again and then I'm not. So I'm kind of with you there, Brian. However, and I say this at the end, this movie may tie everything back in together better than a lot of movies we've done. Like, as far as the ending, very satisfying to me. I think the reveal is good. And as you guys know, these, Satan possession movies or whatever aren't really for me. And this doesn't really use those same tropes that much. So I think maybe that's why I enjoyed it. And how often do we get to do like a workplace horror? Like we've done it, like 3 or 4 times maybe in the 5 years we've done the show. So I thought that was interesting as well. Just something, obviously it wasn't really workplace. They were stuck on an elevator, but that's still the kind of vibe I got from the movie. It's not perfect. It drags a little bit even for its runtime, which, by the way, shout out to Nita Russell for picking this movie for that runtime. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of runtime we need around here. These 3-hour A24 spectacles sometimes get a little long. I love A24. I'm just saying. Is it they get a little long is all. Pause.
Yeah, you prefer the shorter ones. That's fine. Look, I had never seen or even heard of this movie before this review, I'm going to be honest with you. And I got to say, I thought it was pretty good. I definitely have my issues with it, and I'll touch on that. It's not perfect, but I'm glad I watched it. I'd definitely watch it again.
Yeah, that 80-minute runtime was clutch. All right, let's jump into the scene by scene, guys. The film starts with 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Narration from Ramirez speaking on the devil taking human form to punish before taking their souls. Opening credits as we get a Parker fan smile like upside-down camera shots of Philadelphia. More narration on the devil, starting off with a suicide as we see a body fall on a bread truck as a man cleans the floors. Bowden, instead of Bowden for some reason, is with his sponsor talking about his recovery and asked to talk about only normal stuff, not these deep topics. He's taken to the scene of the suicide jumper but doesn't see the window they lit from. He realizes the truck must have rolled and finds the building they jumped from. We meet the salesman who enters the building while the guard stops Sarah, telling her she must sign in. There's a procedure. Guard takes the elevator with salesman, old woman, Sarah, and the mechanic. I'm going by their IMDb names, not the names they said in the film for context to the listeners. Suddenly, the elevator stops. Ramirez asks Lustig, why is elevator 6 in inspection mode? Lustig calls Dwight about the stuck elevator, but he's on the broken window now. He jokes about fucking his mom and says he's going to go check it out. Old woman keeps asking questions until guard snaps on her. Ludwig radios in that help's on the way, but he can't hear them back. Guard tries to call his job, but no signal. Sarah has 1 bar and calls from her phone. She must have an iPhone. He hands the phone back as the elevator music kicks on and salesman starts singing and being a jerk. Sarah says, let's stop talking for a while, and guard looks visibly upset. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Okay, so first of all, let me get this out of the way. No offense. I guess all of the offense to Jacob Vargas, who was in Next Friday, by the way, and Hills Have Eyes too. But Ramirez, his character to me is like a discount Michael Pena and completely miscast. I hated him here. So the telling of this folktale at the start of this should be creepy to me. Like, it should be a little scary, but it almost feels like a joke with him telling it. I don't know. And like I said, the soundtrack is awful, especially here. It feels like this type of soundtrack where we're walking up to Dracula's castle or something. It just feels completely out of place. It's ridiculously standout to me. Now, good and bad, the opening shots with the city being upside down. This is just one of the bajillion shots in this movie that are absolutely amazing. The open is ruined, though, with the very noticeable 2010 CG building. But the real shots, the legendary Tak Fujimoto from Silence of the Lambs, Sixth Sense, Star Wars, he's phenomenal. Almost too good for this movie. But I mean, without him, this movie would get a low score from me. I mean, he makes some of these terrible dialogue scenes interesting. And this was actually his last completed project as a cinematographer before his retirement. And as of 2024, when we were recording this, my man is still kicking at 85 years old. Awful distracting CG on the opening suicide hitting the truck. And also, like I said, some more of that pretty bad dialogue between Detective Bowden. Some may pronounce it Bowden. No idea if he's related to Bobby or not, but I bet he could coach offense better than Jeff. But also, Jeff may be able to deliver these lines better. I don't know. Brian Nelson wrote the screenplay, and he wrote 30 Days a Night, so I know he can write. So is it director Dowdle's fault or Chris Messina's delivery? I don't know. I'm going to blame them all and Dowdle for not saying, yeah, this dialogue sucks. This should be a deep conversation about forgiveness and loss between him and his, I don't know. It's not therapist, but sponsor, I guess. I mean, the man just lost his wife and daughter and tried to commit suicide, and it just seems cheesy. And so I guess I didn't understand too. So the dude hit the truck, the suicide guy jumped out the window, hit the truck, knocked it out of gear, and then it just rolled and then turned down another street. Well, why didn't we see it immediately start to roll when he hit it? And I mean, I don't know. That's kind of bullshit, right? Come on. We also should have seen that dude struggling with something before he jumped. Like, put me in that room as a viewer. I wanted to see that shit. One last fun fact, and I'll shut up. 9 minutes into the film, as the elevator door closes, the last passenger puts his arm in the way to stop it, but it is not visible at all in the mirror if you do look at it. So obviously that reveals, to avoid revealing the camera in the mirror, they superimpose the video onto the scene. And it does kind of look weird going back and looking when you know that. But just that whole shot of entering the elevator with them after the close-ups of everyone walking in the building, I thought was brilliant. But besides for the cinematography from Fujimoto, not a good set of scenes to me, not a good open, and so far I hate the movie and their annoying characters. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, the upside down city here in the opening credits really throws me off for a second. Obviously, it's trying, it's Philly, so that it threw me off. I think it's a cool opening credit scene, though. Personally, did not know that M. Night was involved in this. That was cool to find out that he was, had his hands on this film. Knowing absolutely nothing about this film, this scene that you're talking about, where it's, I don't know if it's a therapist or who he's talking to or whatever, but immediately knew this guy was an investigator by his suit. Did not know anything, went into this movie blind, immediately knew this man was playing a cop, and he was. I'm not going to lie, I know it's Philly, but the way it started out, it almost started out like, are we about to see a really bad 9/11 horror movie? Like, what is this? Like, I didn't know what we were about to see. But again, I'm already intrigued because this is a very unique setting for a horror movie or a thriller to me. Like you just don't see it very much. So I am intrigued. I know I'm a Philly sports guy, but that's only 2 teams. Fuck the Flyers. Flyers are on TV. Fuck those guys. Hate those guys. My man, Jacob Vargas, he's in a lot of stuff, but he's known as Selena's brother to me, brother, and anything for Salinas. That's all I think about when I see him. Not my fault. Look, we know what the old woman ends up being, but not gonna lie, she's giving off some pretty racist ass vibes here with my guy Tim in or not Tim, Jesus Christ, with the security guard in the elevator. Which, by the way, that's not just any security guard. That guy used to play in Ray Charles' band, brother. If you've seen the movie Ray, you'll know it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. I would also kill this salesman singing fucker. Fuck this guy. One of the worst kinds of people on an elevator. Buddy, I was in an elevator the other day leaving work, and this guy that was delivering Domino's to the office as I was leaving, got in the elevator meeting, would not shut the fuck up. That may have been the highlight of his day, but as Dustin knows, after you leave the office working on freight, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to speak to you. I'm speaking to truck drivers all fucking day, dispatchers all day. I don't want to do this shit. So anyway, Sarah, it's my last thing. Call me sometime.
Okay. Great thing to end on. There's just something about John Eric Dowdle and upside down shots, huh? Like he wrote and directed As Above, So Below. And this one starts out with the upside down shots of the city. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together. The math is mathing. Great shot of the custodian cleaning the floor and being oblivious to the body dropping on the van behind him. He's got his headphones in. I thought that was really well shot. The score does a good job making this feel way more sinister than your average cop drama, because early on, that's kind of how the story will lead you to believe it's just a cop drama, but the score lets you know. Nay. When the salesman enters the building, I knew he looked familiar. The snozberries taste like snozberries. That's him. And also, he was Winston in an underrated comedy, The Ringer. Love that movie. Speaking of underrated, then we get Bokeem Woodbine. Hell yeah, such an underrated actor. Also, I think it's hilarious that people call him Evil Dave Chappelle. He definitely looks like an evil twin. The people in this elevator, man, the people in this elevator suck. The one guy staring at him, everyone just being hateful towards the guard, which does feel racially charged, especially Doug Heffernan's mom. That's a King of Queens reference, yep. Damn people acting like it's his fault the elevator stopped. They act like they've been stuck in there for hours also, and it's only been like 2 minutes. I'm definitely not a fan of how quickly things escalated in the elevator, though, but I am invested in the movie.
Man, you're in the elevator with the devil, pal. That's scary.
They don't know it.
That's why the shit escalated quick, though. I'm just kidding. All right. Skyline shots as Dwight makes it to the roof and his hat blows off. He almost runs off the building trying to catch it like a damn idiot. Bowden and Markowitz walk to the building and they find the broken glass. He tells the cleaner to stop sweeping. This is a crime scene. They narrowly avoid a piece of glass falling on them and killing them. Ramirez keeps narrating as Dwight looks down the elevator chute. He tells him the machine doesn't alert and they cut the power. Some commotion happens in the dark and Guard begins to panic from a childhood experience being locked in a trunk. Mechanic feels around the roof of the elevator and finds the opening. Dwight says he'll go check the mains in the basement as Ludwig tells Ramirez about the suicide jumper. He radios back to the folks in the elevator and Salesman tries to make his pitch to Old Woman on a new mattress once they get out. He calls Sarah out on being well off and they all complain of the music. Sarah accused Salesman of touching her butt and the power begins flickering. He flips the breaker but no change. Dwight says only thing left is to climb down manually and reset it. Jump scare on Dwight as another elevator falls thanks to a raccoon, I guess. Lights go out again and more commotion in the dark. Lights back on and Sarah is on the ground and bleeding. She has apparent bite marks all over her back and Mechanic snaps to turn the music off. Salesman crosses his arm noticing the blood on his jacket and he's called out by the guard. Salesman is defensive as he's asked if they can search him. The tension gets thick as Sarah shows the camera the wounds. Ludwig says they're going to call the cops and Bowden takes the call, conveniently outside the building. Ramirez goes frame by frame seeing a face appear on the camera. He clutches his crossed necklace and prays. Guard and Mechanic try prying the doors open to no success for whatever reason. Ludwig brings the officers into the control room and he radios to them to try and reassure them. He requests more help and finds out more about the guard. Ramirez brings up the face and Bowden wants to see their licenses, but the camera isn't quite clear enough to see anything. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
So, at the start of this, again, I think the dialogue between Bowden and Markowitz is absolutely cringy. And, someone who just tried to commit suicide and his partner would not just have a casual conversation like this, especially with him going, it seems like yesterday when, come the fuck on with that shit, Brian Nelson. And then a piece of glass almost takes their head off, and then Bowden casually going, you may want to secure that better. I feel like I'm watching a scary movie again. The music playing, the entire thing, including budget Michael Pena continuing the voiceover with the story I thought was awful, in my opinion. We didn't need that. And man, listen, I know Jeffrey Arend's character is supposed to be annoying, but it's almost not realistic annoying. Like, it's just kind of terrible, in my opinion. It's everyone in the elevator here. Establishing their characters is some of the worst parts of this movie, I feel like. Of course, honestly, it's just some terrible acting from Arend. He feels like he's still playing the Super Troopers character, and I'm wondering if this is a comedy or what, because it just feels very off. The atmosphere does as well. Fun fact about the annoying elevator music plays on a repeated loop. It's called Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree. Spoiler alert, if I can find it, it's going to intro this episode. Now, I do like Logan Marshall Green and Bojana Novakic in this. Bojana is in Drag Me to Hell, which, spoiler alert, we need to review. I definitely didn't like that movie when I watched it the first time either, but I kind of guessing I'm not really a Sam Raimi fan unless it's a comic book movie. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Those two act to me like they seem realistic. They do a good job, I think, with what they're given. They don't feel wooden when they deliver their lines. They're, normal lines like you'll see as we start to get into the murders. I think this movie, gets better and better as it goes on. Last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up. I don't like being able to stop the camera and see the face of the devil in there. Like, I don't know. Let me think that perhaps there's someone in there just murdering people and that we just think it's supernatural. Like us knowing that it is in fact supernatural before anything even happens, I think kind of sucks in my opinion.
So there's a lot of skyline shots in this movie. So I got to ask, Brian, are you good with these? Like, do you view these the same way you view nature shots, or skyline like not the same? Like, what's the deal there? I'm just asking, man. I'm just asking questions. Not gonna lie, just like the horror movie guy in me wanted to see that shard of glass land on one of them, take him out. Let's go. Let's get some gore going. But understand that's not the kind of movie we are. And man, these people complaining about this elevator getting stuck like this, They're being real big assholes about it. And, me and Nico have talked about this before. Like, everyone's an asshole for stuff they don't know how to do. Like, hey, man, my air's broken. You got to come fix it. Well, I'm going to do it on my time because I'm the one that can fucking fix it, and I'll be there when I'm there. Or you can learn how to fix it. So it's one of those things. Like, it sucks, but there's no reason to just be a complete dick to everybody about it. Can't stand that shit. Learn how to do something with your hand. Got soft hands, everybody in this elevator. I'm not going to lie. I've spent most of my time so far trying to figure out how the elevator story is going to tie in to, everything else that's going on. Like, how the investigator story is going to tie into the elevator story featuring the mattress selling fuck and Sarah on the elevator, which again, that's fine. Everyone gets mad at the mattress salesman, which, by the way, that's undercover. That's definitely a drug ring. Anyway, she tells him to keep her. Yes, keep your hands off of her. Damn it. Fucking creep. Anyway, I don't care what you say. This man that signed up to fix or to be the on-site mechanic or whatever you want to call it, he did not sign up to go in these elevator shafts, brother. Like, he's supposed to be able to press a button and fix this shit. You can tell this man don't know what the fuck he's doing. No one wants to crawl up dark shafts. Pause. Anyway, what happened? Don't look at me like that, Nico. Anyway, I will say this was intense as it's kind of falling down. Thought my man was about to be an elevator sandwich, man. And then they kind of freeze frame. Like it's an episode of Ghost Hunters and there's a ghost-like orb thing on the screen. All right, man. Whatever. Looks nothing like one, but whatever. Here's my question. Everyone thinks it's the sales guy that cut her. How the fuck would he have cut her? What would he have cut her with? I know he's sleazy. This jumping to conclusion thing's kind of weird to me. Anyway, good luck trying to split open elevator doors. I've tried that shit. You'd have been better off using Open Sesame from Aladdin, dude. That's all I had. I thought this was a better set of scenes than the first one. I am invested in the story to kind of find out where this elevator stuff goes.
Well, all I know is that elevator was inspected August 12th. Good day. Good day, depending on who you ask. Not me, because that's my birthday, a day I dread every year. I've considered suing my mom for having me. I didn't consent to this bullshit called life. Anyway, the elevator being fucky while, everything looks good to the engineer, that's eerie, especially considering the movie is called Devil. I don't think I like where this is headed. She probably did it to herself. Really? Come on, dog. Some of the character direction in the story and the dialogue mixed with it, it's pretty lackluster. Not really a big fan. The security guard telling Bowden, that's a good idea. That was funny. It's kind of like a fry cook at McDonald's telling a chef that he's cooking the right way. I don't know. It's just always funny when underqualified people tell people they're doing a good job and what they actually do. But, there's some things that I didn't like about it, but overall I'm still invested here.
McDonald's fry cook. All right, Ludwig takes Bowden to the sign-in sheet, and he has Markowitz investigate each name. Ramirez sees the face again as the lights flicker. Sarah has visions of them all dead until she comes to. Lights go out and the mirror on board shatters. They see the salesman with a huge piece in his neck and they panic. The cops run to the monitor seeing what's taking place. Ramirez begins asking questions and throws jelly toast in the air. When the devil's near, everything goes wrong. He suggests the devil's on the elevator in human form. Bowden is in disbelief. We find out the guard has several assault charges on his record and they grow suspicious of him. Fire department arrives as Ramirez narrates more. We find out the elevator company is out of business and Bowden is drawing a blank on the state of the people on board. Mechanic grabs the envelope out of salesman's pocket and we find out his name is Vince McCormick and they go check in with the Better Business Bureau on the meeting he had planned. Mechanic reveals he served in Afghanistan. Forensic tells Bowden the suicide note isn't adding up. It's crazy and rational. It's usually one or the other. Mechanic attempts to get on the roof of the elevator to work on it, but is snatched down by the guard being accused by Sarah of escaping, which made no sense to me. He snaps saying they know what he was doing. Bowden finds out Vince is a piece of work too, scamming people in a failed Ponzi scheme. Guard frisks the mechanic to gain trust. Ramirez shows Bowden the face saying everyone believes in the devil, even a little bit. He shows Ramirez the apology note left at his wife and son's hit and run. He says, I don't believe in the devil. People are bad enough by themselves. Bowden grows suspicious of Sarah, saying he'll be in there shortly. Dwight descends, and an old woman pulls pepper spray out and attempts to spray the guard. Ludwig radios to him, and some birds or bats, something flies at him and scares him, and he falls and almost out the harness. The latches break, and he thuds down onto the elevator. They see blood leaking through the roof of the elevator, and a mechanic panics. Bowden heads to the roof where Dwight entered. All right, Brian, next set of scenes, what do you think?
Okay, I don't have a lot on this set of scenes, but this is where really the movie starts to get my attention. Like where the salesman bit the dust with the mirror shard. I thought that was awesome. Now, it was almost ruined with Ramirez and his fucking upside down toast shit speech and fucking children hitting the tables. Fuck it, that was stupid ass writing, I think. But with him gone, the tension in that elevator does start to build up. There's a ridiculous shot when Bowden goes up to talk to Elsa, who, by the way, his wife and kid were just fucking killed 6 months ago. And he's fucking hurt? Because, I don't know, maybe that was implied to y'all too, right? That they were fucking? Come on. But anyway, when he's up there talking to her, the shot of those two talking, it was through that broken glass from the outside. You can see half the screen like have rain on it. That was one of the most beautiful shots I may have ever seen. That was fantastic. Standout. And I don't know if we talked about old Ludwig, but he was in X-Men First Class, Crimson motherfucking Tide, great fucking movie as Zimmer, Disturbia. But you know who he looked like that I thought it actually was at first? That old dude, Larry Hankin, that played Carl in Billy Madison. I thought they were the same person. That's all I really had on this group of scenes. The first one I think was decent, and this was the first one I thought was decent and start to really get my attention.
I really am invested at this point, though. The flashing light here as it kind of goes back and forth is about to give me a stroke, and I have, I'm not making light of that. I'm being serious. It gave me a little bit of a headache. Holy shit, I wasn't expecting that kill, though. The salesman. Get the fuck out of here, pal. Man, they call my security guard guy some temp, and I am sick of this disrespect because, like I've already said, and Dustin knew what I was talking about, that man played in Ray Charles's band, son. I'm tired of that shit. Get the fuck out of here with the disrespect. Fuck you. I will say, I almost wish this was a straight-up whodunit because I'd be a little more invested, knowing the movie's called Devil, kind of knowing where something is going. If this were just a straight-up who's done it in this elevator, I'd be a little more invested, and I kind of watch it that way. Yeah, sure. I get it.
Completely agree.
And I kind of watch it that way too. Like, I think it plays better if you do that. I'm not gonna lie, this elevator camera, while good for its time, still has the appearance of looking like it's being filmed by an android. I mean, through a potato. I'm not gonna lie, when the man says, "So you've been trained to kill," "Oorah," is a great response. That's some slick shit, man. I appreciated the little cut back there. Nothing worse than being rained in, when it's an open window. Obviously, a man jumped out. It was broken. But the weather coming in the office, that's a tough cleanup job for whoever has to do that. I have enjoyed all the scenes in the elevator so far. I think they're pretty intense, and I think they're starting to get more intense. I almost wish we spent more time in the elevator with this group. Like, I almost feel like it would be a perfect one-setting horror movie if they did it right. That's just me. I will say, really needed an elevator shaft kill here. Like, I needed something big to happen, and we don't really get that, so that's a little disappointing. That's all I had.
Dog. When the lights flickered and everyone was bloodied and dead for a second, and then the lights go out and the glass is shattered, holy tensity, Batman. Like, it picked up the tensity here. Ramirez cracked me up with his jelly toast theory. Pretty wild jump to conclusion for him to think that someone in the elevator is the devil, though. It's like, of all the possibilities, like, oh, the devil's in there. Then talk about racial profiling. The cops automatically assume that it's the one black guy that's the murderer. Unbelievable. The forensics lady saying the suicide note didn't make sense was insulting to me, honestly. She said it all made sense until the last line. Non-religious people can't fathom that a line like that is completely rational to religious people. And he had rosary beads in his hand when he jumped, so he was clearly religious. I don't know. That was kind of inconsistent with reality to me. The car wash coupon apology story was a little to me. I mean, I get it. It's a powerful story, but something about how it's written in, it seems corny to me. Like, it seems corny how it was just inserted in the story at that moment. I don't know. Then Poor went out for Dwight. You asked me, he got the shaft. Huh? I'll be here all night, folks. He got an elevator shaft. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, I'm still liking what I'm seeing for the most part, aside from a few nitpicks.
More police arrive on scene as Bowden makes it to the roof. He sees Dwight has fallen and been impaled, injured, or possibly dead. Bowden tells him to cut through the wall of floor 21. Bowden requests footage of the mechanic as we see old lady stealing a wallet on camera. Camera glitches and Bowden sees a death scene, and Ludwig tells Ramirez to check the cameras out. They find mechanic entering the building and notice he had a satchel, but not with him on the elevator. The lights begin flickering and power goes out again. Rumbling happens and a demon appears behind the guard who strikes a lighter, I think. We see the old woman hanging now and more panic ensues. Bowden orders him to shut down the building and says they're all capable. Ludwig goes to check out the shutoff valve, and Ramirez says they're bad people. That's why they're here. He says there's a reason they're the audience for this. A woman attempts to enter the building but shunned away. Mechanic gets old woman down, and he and the guard begin to argue. Mechanic tries closing her eyes to no success and grows suspicious when guard says they must be dead for a few hours. Detectives go into the bathroom and find the satchel full of tools. They think he could possibly rig an elevator with them. Ramirez radios to them, falling to his knees, praying in Spanish. The remaining three introduce themselves, and Mechanic questions where his claustrophobia went. He calls Guard a liar, and the two men fight, with Mechanic gaining the upper hand. Bowden orders them all to a corner and put their hands on the wall. Bowden asks Ramirez how his hypothetical story ends. They all die. Well, that's good. He says it's not his fault. They made their choice. Markowitz reveals Sarah has a criminal record as well, blackmailing rich guys. Bowden looks for Wayne Kazan, her attorney. He finds him in the crowd of people, and he tells Bowden to start with the closest person to her, and he specializes in forensic accounting. The fire department begins sawing into the wall as Ludwig finds a bad wire in the basement. Ludwig reaches for the hot wire to reattach it, but steps in the water, electrocuting himself. Ludwig stumbles into the crowd of people, burned and shocked, as they all call for a medic. And the next set of scenes is the ending. Brian, what'd you think?
Why would they not get through one of the other tiles on the elevator and climb up there and get that walkie-talkie so that they could communicate? I mean, it's a movie. I get it. That would make the plot probably not as good, but I had to ask. Another great elevator lights out scene with the old woman. Again, those are fantastic. And also, I know I said I hate the whole Ramirez story, and that doesn't change. But when he tells Bowden that he does nothing in secret, you and me are watching this unfold for a reason. We know Bowden's reason at the end. Like, what's Ramirez's reason? To try to annoy everyone to death with his fucking exposition? No, seriously. I mean, they never tell us. They say that, and then he just doesn't have a reason. Anyway. I also really like the red herring aspect that starts, like me and Mike just kind of touched on a little bit. It starts mostly in this set of scenes, like with the Tony and his tools, and making you question, was he the one that rigged the elevator? And I know we found out more about the Caraways, which implicates Sarah and the guard as well. I really like that aspect. I mean, this whodunit mystery type, like we said, which is even more reason why I wish that supernatural thing wasn't as prominent as they've made it out to be the whole time. Maybe just bring it in at the very end. But regardless, when watching this the first time, it did grip me and have me questioning. I was thinking, okay, is Ramirez full of shit? And one of these really are doing it for some reason? Yeah, that's all I had on a set of scenes.
No, I agree. I started to think that myself. It's funny, and we've talked about this in some of the movies we've done recently. As an investigator, this kind of stuff would be an adrenaline rush. I know that sounds terrible, but like we said it in the other movies, like this is kind of like, being a firefighter. No, you don't want people's houses to burn down, but also this is why you do the job. Like this is, what you're in it for. So this kind of like, the fuck is going on in this elevator case would give you the adrenaline rush. The firefighter starts going through the wall with like a giant axe. The fuck is this guy? Andy Dufresne? You don't got anything else that can break down this wall? Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm not going to lie. Everyone being kind of shitty in the elevator, I thought was an interesting twist on the story. Like everyone kind of being a piece of shit, I thought worked really well. It made the story more interesting. I didn't know who I liked. And another reference that Dustin will get here, I I liked it every time the lights go out, something bad happens. Very Bray Wyatt-esque, if you will.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fun. I'm like, some shit's about to go down. And then it pops back on and somebody's dead. I think that's really well done. I'm not going to lie, Nico, I skipped over my note that ran you over hot cold, but there's a part 3 sets of scenes ago where he says something about, fucking his mom or whatever, and he goes, my mom's 78, so good luck with that. And I'm like, well, Nico would have been all in. Anyway. So I think need to get my clip in, everybody, that's all. No disrespect. No disrespect, except maybe a little. My man Ramirez here trying to pray it away in Spanish. Oh, that's what I took it as. I'm like, all right, that's, you know what? Maybe that'd work. I don't know. Maybe not. Honestly, an elevator fight is wild behavior. We're in this little ass box. You want to fucking fight me? Oh, dog. I'm like, that is some out of pocket behavior for sure. There was a point where I'm thinking, is Sarah the devil? Because if Sarah's the devil, worth it for me. Anyway. This movie, and as much as I like it, and as suspenseful as it is, it's the dick tease of kills. They don't fucking kill anybody. Like, what were they showing? It shows some aftermath and some leading up, but they don't show the kill for anything. It's a little tame. That's all I'm saying. Man got fried when he got electrocuted, though. So they did show the aftermath of that. If this were Scream 6, he would have bled. Shout out to Nico.
Hey, before you go, Dustin, I just got to say one quick thing. I just got an old saying for me personally. The only way I can put a woman in a wheelchair is if she's already old enough to be in one already. But go ahead.
This has been a wild night. It's been a wild night.
I don't know what I walked back into, but holy shit at what I've already heard.
You know I had a headphone in.
All right. Yeah, the screen glitching and showing everyone dead for a split second should have been way more alarming. I know Bowden saw that. Like, why wasn't he freaking out? He was looking right at it, and then just everyone's dead, and then back on there's not. He didn't say rewind it. I don't know. That bothered me. The face behind the guard when he struck the match, that was intense as fuck. Then when the lights come back on, Doug Heffernan mom is hanged in the corner. I should have cared, but man, I'm not going to lie, I didn't. She was insufferable in this movie. I had no idea you couldn't do the old close the eyes of the dead trick immediately after they died until I watched this movie. Every other movie makes it look like it's immediate. Like if someone dies, you can close their eyes. No, this one, he couldn't do it. And she informs him he can't. Like, I didn't know that.
No idea.
It's informational. I like the added wrinkle of Bowden talking to the attorney to find out who has motive to hurt her. It's a great way to stretch the possibility of logic into the story. I like that. Great scene transition when Lustig is stepping into the water and we immediately cut to the fireman. That got me. I'm not going to lie. Like, he puts his foot right above the water, and as it hits, we cut to the saws going into the wall. I like that. But I'm ready for the finish.
You're talking about the eyes being closed, Dustin. If anybody listening wants to know about the whole biology with having hard nipples, go back and listen into our Haunting of Hill House episodes, because we go definitely into that medical mystery there.
Yep, we did. One of us did anyway.
All right, here's the ending. Sarah takes her hands off the wall, complaining she's hurting. Mechanic accuses her of being a twist. Once you kick the twist ass, everything goes back to normal. Sarah feels threatened as Mechanic says he's on to her. Bowden has an epiphany hearing Caraway security and runs to the office. He notices guard works for them, saying this is Kensington killing again. He thinks the guard is going to kill Sarah for her husband. Lights keep flickering as he assures Sarah that she'll be safe. They use their phones to light the place up. But suddenly their phones are snatched from their hands and commotion happens. Lights back on and guard's head is twisted around. Mechanic says he knows she did this. They both grab glass and have a standoff. Bowden tries to calm them down, but Sarah, Mr. Miyagi's him, saying they'll pin everything on him and he'll have no case. Ramirez says it's the devil. It's what he does. Bowden radios in comforting them, telling them his story and his struggle, almost drinking himself to death. His only way out of hell was taking responsibility. The two agree to put the glass down. We see Sarah has another piece stashed in her back pocket, though. Bowden is told someone in the crowd may know someone in the elevator. Sarah reaches for the glass as Mechanic's phone is ripped from his hand. We see Sarah now lying dead on the floor. Elsa says the man on board is her fiancé. Suddenly, the old woman stands up, revealing she's the devil. Ramirez panics as Mechanic's phone flashes back to reaching for a beer and crashing into a car. Hello Zet plays as we realize he's the one who hit and run on Bowden's wife and son, leaving the death note. Mechanic says to take him, I deserve it. He confesses he deserves this as the elevator falls down the shaft rapidly. He grabs the radio and admits his crime, apologizing, not realizing the officer listening, that was his family. Damn, I really wanted you, the old woman says as she disappears as the lights all go out. Bowden is in disbelief with her missing. Emergency help enters the elevator as we see the bodies wheeled away on stretchers. Bowden looks Mechanic intensely in the eye, saying he'll take him in. On the car ride over, he tells him that was his family that he murdered and left behind. Bowden tells him he's waited on this moment for 5 years, but stops and says he forgives him. Mechanic is in shock, and Ramirez begins to narrate again on what his mother said. If the devil is real, then God must be too. The film ends with more shots of Philadelphia and the bridge. Brian, what'd you think about the ending?
Hello, Zep played. Did it, Nico?
Da-na-na.
I like the ending probably the most of any part of this film. I liked the old dick twist of Tony being the one who had killed Detective Bowden's family. Again, I wish we'd seen him more broken up and torn up over that, and had maybe forgiving Tony be what really started his healing, not having it seem like he was completely over it already. I mean, it would have hit more for me personally. Besides the awful CG of the flashback of the wreck, seeing the little boy dead was brutal. I think Chris Messina did a fantastic with his emotional highs and lows here at the end. Fun fact about the car crash scene: when he crashed the car in Detective Bowman's wife and kid, you can see that when the car spins into the ditch, the license plate is backwards, meaning that the clip was reversed in editing. So, way to go, editor Elliot Greenberg, who also did Crawl and Fantastic Four remake. I hadn't seen Crawl, but I heard it was bad, and I have seen the 2015 Fantastic Four, and it was awful too. So, but he was, in his defense, an editor on Smile too, so maybe he redeems himself there. I don't know, but that was definitely a miss there, and a tangent. Sorry. And last thing to end on a bad note, I guess. I know what they were trying to do with the credits, not calling any of the people trapped in the elevator by their real names, just their occupations. But I mean, we learn them in the movie, so I don't really understand why you would do that. I don't understand the thought process there.
No, I thought the same thing too, because even when you look up the cast online, it says it by their occupations, but you learn the name of them in the film. Like, I don't really understand that either, but I felt like they were red herring me with Tony, or ex-military guy, being the devil, and it's been a red herring this whole time. Never thought it was him. I will say, spoiler alert, that this is my favorite kill, because my man, security guard Ben, his whole ass head and neck was turned around the opposite direction. I thought that looked really good. I was not expecting it to be this old bitch the whole time. I thought that shit was well done. They got my ass. Most movies don't. I can sniff that stuff out a mile away, and this time they got me. So credit to them. I was not expecting that. I'm not gonna lie. I love how this is all tying together. Both stories coming together really nice. With obviously it being revealed that Tony's the one that killed his family, and him finding that out while trying to save his life ? Thought that was very interesting as well. And maybe to me, it may be one of the better tied all together endings we've done on the show, in my opinion. And this, him driving him away, I was like, oh shit, this feels like a deep conflict of interest. And I'm not gonna lie, that's fine. I know the forgiveness and grace and all that is kind of the whole point, but I will say, gotta hit him at least one time in the fucking face, man. Gotta get one shot to the jaw for doing that, at least one. And then, if you want to forgive him after that, that's fine. That was not gavel worthy. Don't look at me like that.
I didn't. Great twist with Sarah's husband owning the security company. That was another added wrinkle that I really liked. Then, holy shit, his head was on backwards. What a kill. Very tense when we're down to the last two. Felt like the Royal Rumble. I thought they were going to point to the WrestleMania sign. Good shot of her back pocket showing that she still has a glass shard in there. I like that. And then, great reveal that Doug's mom is the devil. Holy shit. But, I mean, if we're being real here, if someone's got to be the devil, it's definitely going to be a woman. And then the reveal that Jane Kowski is the one who left the note for Bowden. Jesus, this is heavy. I'm not sure how he got away though and stayed free for 5 years. Like, you're telling me that he was able to drive his car away from that crash? And if not, if he couldn't drive his car away, the cops didn't run the tags and catch him? I don't know. Didn't really like that, but I'll forgive it though. Overall, it's a very solid ending to a decently solid movie.
All right, let's jump into our social media comments and questions. I'll do the Instagrams first. We only got one. Jordan Zager commented, I never got around to watching this one. Always caught a little bit of my interest, but wasn't sure if it was worth the watch. So hoping y'all can tell me with the sideways laughing emoji. It's only an hour and 20 minutes.
I think it's worth a watch.
I think it's definitely worth the watch. I think this is a good movie, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
That's all I got, though. If y'all got Twitter or Facebook.
I got Twitter and Blue Sky, new social media.
Oh, so, shit. We got Blue Sky comments?
We got Blue Sky. We got one. On X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, we got two. Sean the Glee Man said, love this movie. Definitely one of Shyamalan's best. I mean, yeah, if you count it that. He was a producer, but yeah. Okay.
He's a writer, too, isn't he?
No, he just did he did a little story outline. He's given story credit, but not screenplay writing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Anita Russell said, had a lot of fun with this movie, can pop it in anytime and still enjoy it. 8 out of 10. And then when I hop over to The Skies That Are Blue, which, side note, follow us on there. It's a new account. But Sky Blue, or Blue Sky, sorry, they're not called tweets. They're called skeets, just to let y'all know. We got 2 comments on there, actually. One is from Nerds Unite 42. Said, like this one from what I remember, we'll definitely have to revisit. Thank you for putting it back on my radar. You're welcome. And then one is from Chris Zen. He said, tell Nico I said, fuck you, buddy. So there you go.
Can we?
He did that on that app?
Yeah,
What?
on that
What?
app, man.
Why
Why are we
fuck
calling
people?
it? Hey, man, why are we calling it skeets? All I can think about is Dave Chappelle. Ah, ski, 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 ski.
Twitter, tweets.
I get
Blue
it, but that's
Sky,
terrible, brother.
tweets. And
That's terrible.
it's funny because it's been a thing on there for a while, but now that the app has added, they're up to over 15 million users, a million in a day. CNN and MSNBC, like, they're talking about the app. They've called them skeets on air on major national news television programs.
Jesus
Ah,
Christ.
ski, 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 ski.
So they are skeets. We win.
Skeet.
Jesus Christ.
Water gun.
Ah, ski, ski, motherfucker.
All right, on the Book of Faces, we only have one. Amber George says, good movie. I'm a diehard M. Night Shyamalan fan.
That's how it's always been. This is not M. Night's movie, but he always gets the credit. Hey, shout out to M. Night.
Yeah.
Hey, he's the guy. He's the guy that did nothing in the group project and got all the credits. Let's go, buddy.
That's true.
All right.
Mike, you got the budget?
Yeah, sure. It was made for estimated budget of $10 million and grossed approximately $61 million worldwide. So pretty good for the gross. $10 million, making $51 million off your movie. That's pretty damn good because I'd never heard of it or seen it.
Same. That's what I'm saying. Like, for a movie to do that well in the box office, I'm surprised I'd never heard of it.
Y'all got any fun facts?
Well, I just got 4. The inspiration for the film comes from the folktale The Devil's Meeting, in which the devil roams the earth in human form, torturing the living. The film also mentions the folktale. Biblical references can be seen throughout the movie for company names. You've got Bethel Bread, Trinity Service Station, and then places like Locust Street, Bethlehem Pike. And the building number 333 can also be seen as a reference to the devil number of 666, which is mentioned in the Bible. Dwight's death took 4 days to shoot, so I know they hated life after that. And then the last one I've got is that the ever-talented and underrated Bokeem Woodbine was also in 3,000 Miles to Graceland with David Arquette. There you go.
All right, the only one I have left is Chris Messina and Bohana Novakovic. Wow.
I thought you said
Novocaine. They would go on to star in Birds of Prey 9 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck off, Mike.
Let's jump to our favorite kill, least favorite kill in the rating. I'll go first. Dustin, you can go next. You want to add these joints up. Favorite kill, I'm going to go with The Guard. I just really thought the head twist around was really good. I liked that one a lot.
Me too.
Least favorite kill, it took 4 days, but by God, you didn't even see none of it. I'm going with Dwight. What the heck's going on with this? You just fall on the elevator. I want to see this man get impaled or something. Like, come on. That would have been a good kill to see on screen.
Yes.
Anywho, great runtime. 80 minutes. I love when a movie knows what it has and it sticks to it. We don't need to add 10 minutes of fluff for no reason to get the 90-minute mark. I enjoy this movie. I have a good time with it. It's well-paced. It's an interesting concept. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I agree with you guys. There's some cringy dialogue. There's some goofy stuff that happens throughout the movie. But I'm right there with you, Anita. I give the movie an 8. I had a good time with it back in 2010, and I had a good time with it now.
Okay. So favorite kill for me is The Guard as well. Getting your head turned in a direction it's not meant to turn is brutal.
Yes.
Least favorite kill, I didn't really have one. They're all pretty much on the same level, but in hindsight, I agree with you. Like, we should have seen more from that, I guess. But as far as my final thoughts and the rating, it's a very solid movie, aside from the dialogue, character direction, and acting. But the story and the twists and the runtime definitely make up for it. Like I said, I kind of assumed it would be one of the two women who is the villain, because after all, women are the devil. But anyway, I liked it for the most part. I give it a 6.75.
So I can go ahead and go real quick. My favorite kill is also The Guard. I thought that was really well done. Definitely the best kill in the movie, because I actually don't think any of the other kills are very good. So that's my favorite kill for sure. Although the one guy getting like fried to death was kind of good. It just would have been good to see it. Like, we didn't see it. We just saw the aftermath. So anyway, yeah, no, I enjoy the movie. I think it's really solid. It kind of has a little bit of pacing issues, but like Nico said, the runtime is perfect when this movie knows what it had, got done what it needed to get done, in and out in 80 minutes. Love that part about it, because it tells a very succinct story, and I think it ties all back in at the end really, really well. I think there's some rewatchability to this movie too, as well, me personally. I think this is a very rewatchable film, very good thriller, has a few, nitpicky things I don't particularly care for, but overall, by the end, it hooks me and actually shocks me, which most movies don't. So I give it credit for that. I gave the movie 7.5. I thought it was really good.
Okay, my favorite death is the same as you guys. Security guard who got his neck twisted around. My least favorite death, I went with the electrocution of Ludwig. Man, I liked that guy. But I think there's more good than bad in this. I think there's definitely some real bad, especially the first 30 minutes. But I'm going to give it a flat 6 for the last hour of the movie and the twist is dick that it gave us.
All right. Well, that puts us at a composite score of 7.0625. IMDb has it at a 6.3. Rotten Tomatoes at a 51%. And Letterboxd, which we've been doing, is a 2.6. So we're definitely higher across the board, but that's okay.
Damn, Letterboxd is hating a bunch of.
Well, you got to remember that's out of 5. So 2.6 out of 5, that's, 5.2. Right in line with Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Everybody giving this movie a C. I think this movie's a solid B+. What's wrong with you people?
C's get degrees, brother.
That's right.
Haters. Anita, we really appreciate your donation. We appreciate the movie selection. I think we all enjoyed it for the most part.
Absolutely.
Kind of like a movie we did earlier, Scary Movie. Like, this reminded me of 2010. I just graduated. Yep. Good time in life. Let me shout out these blood donors, and we'll get out of here. Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker. We still got 2 left to do. We really appreciate your donations, Dana. Legendary blood donor Anita Russell. We just did your movie, Devil. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for that donation. Final girl donor Christina Tower. We're going to be doing her pick next week. Go ahead and announce that. Happy Death Day. That's going to be a fun one for us, guys. I know we're all fans of that movie. And Jenny Conway is the final girl donor, Creep, from 2014. I actually just watched that movie for the first time last night.
Also, ready to do that one, too.
Interesting.
Really excited.
Interesting flick.
Yep.
Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, Steve Schmidt, Michelle Mirza, and Chris Manley. Camp Council Reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis, Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, and Max K. Appreciate y'all. Take a big burden off of us. I'm poor. I can't afford to pay for this podcast. I could go into credit card debt, but I know Dustin will just pay for it out of his millions. We appreciate y'all's donations, and we'll be back next week with Happy Death Day.
What do you say,
Jason X?
You're the rich guy.
Just want to remind everybody,